Welcome, everybody. This is day 25 of the Seance at the Whitney. We've been having a really good time, playing some fun games, listening to some fantastic storytelling. Welcome back, and buckle in. Wacky over here. Here's our schedule. This is what we try to do every night. Sometimes I succeed. Sometimes I lose total control, but we'll see. I'm trying to keep it to an hour, so we'll at this point, I can't promise. Seance at the Whitney is an interactive indie author virtual book festival featuring author readings, an interactive improv mystery game, and book giveaways every night with these amazing, incredible authors. If you don't already know them, go back and watch the replays, listen to their stories, find them on Facebook, buy their books, leave reviews. They're an amazing group of human beings, and I just can't say enough good things about them. Tonight, we only have one author reading this evening, which means we'll have more time for the interrogation session. Douglas Pierce is reading from his book, The Hunted Maiden. Douglas, welcome back. I'm so glad you could join us again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
When you are ready, please take the microphone and read aloud.
All right. This is my book, The Hunted Maiden. It is epic fantasy. All right. Reading from chapter 2. Seldy. Pull, hold, pull, hold. Maestro Banyan barked out his commands in a deep baritone voice. With each command of pull, Seldy renewed her grip on the rope and leaned back, adding all of her strength to the collective effort. With each hold, she relaxed long enough to let her aching shoulders rest and repositioned her feet for the next command. Her eyes remained fixed on Chad's broad back. His well-defined muscles grew taut beneath his loose-fitting cotton tunic with each pull, giving her a small thrill of anticipation for the next time she would be able to feel them rippling beneath her teasing fingers. Pull! The sharp command yanked her mind back to the task at hand. She dug her toes into the winter-hardened earth and threw all of her weight into the joint effort to lower the massive array of safety nets to the ground. Hold! Letting out a ragged breath, Seldy relaxed. Glancing around, she was glad to see that she wasn't the only one breathing hard. Both Gregor and Talon, each of them nearly as big as Chad, were struggling with the other lines across the way. Chad looked back at her over his shoulder. We're almost done, Sunshine. He winked. You doing okay back there? Her heart fluttered, seeing his chiseled features profiled in the flickering lamplight. Seldy was reminded of how lucky she was. You betcha. She beamed her brightest smile up at him before brushing her silver bangs out of her eyes and re-gripping the rope. Pull! She couldn't help giggling when Chad struggled to regain his rhythm. Her smile had flummoxed him again. Watch out below and release! There was a collective sigh when the rope was released. Seldy closed her eyes and turned away from the center of the ring as the massive netting dropped the last few feet to the ground with a tremendous whoomph. A cloud of dust and grit billowed into the air. Take a breather, Master Banyan's words elicited a few cries of relief until his next words cut them short. But don't go anywhere. That storm's bearing down on us, and Maestra Jana expects this entire tent to be struck and stowed before it arrives. Chad grabbed her hand and pulled her away from the others before Maestro Banyan had even stopped speaking. He led her off into the shadows beyond the reach of the flickering lamps. She didn't bother to resist him, even though their friends, Lena, Talon, and Gregor, rolled their eyes and began whispering to each other. Soon they were surrounded by the stacks of crates containing the many stowed props and equipment the Compania used in every performance. Once the others were out of sight, Chad pulled her in close. He towered over her, standing over a foot taller than she did. Staring up at his mane of shoulder-length curly black hair and his gorgeous face, Seldy wondered, not for the first time, how she only came to notice how handsome he was in the last year or so. She had known him her entire life. They had been partners on the high wire and the trapeze for years now. Now, though, every time they were alone, her stomach fluttered, and she wanted nothing more than to melt into his arms. Have you told her yet? His blue eyes were wide as he leaned in close. His breath warmed her cheek. Told her what? Seldy tilted her head and batted her eyelashes, offering him a coy smile. His eyes narrowed, but the corners of his mouth turned up. Oh, I see how it's going to be. He pressed her back against the crates. They were so close she could feel the beating of his heart through the combined layers of her thin dress and his thicker tunic. Her heart raced in response. I've been waiting to do this all day. He dipped his head, brought his hands up to cradle her face, and pressed his lips to hers. All of her defenses melted away. Her heart pounded against her ribs as if she were running a long race. Her breathing quickened. Seldy allowed herself to become lost in the moment, wrapped in the warmth of his strong and steady presence. She slid her fingers into his thick mane, enjoying the feel of it almost as much as she delighted in his fresh masculine scent. She uttered a soft moan and leaned into the kiss. Seldy! Jana's cry rang out behind them, cutting through the murmuring background noise. Shards! She pushed Chad back with a muttered curse. What timing? You haven't told her yet, have you? No, she sighed. There just hasn't been time with Tia's warning about the storm this morning. She took each of his clean-shaven cheeks in her hand before sucking in her bottom lip in frustration. When are you going to tell her? Where's my daughter, blast it? Seldy pulled Chad in for another kiss. It was a quick one, but it was full of promise and unfulfilled desire. Tonight, she whispered as she drew back with a gentle caress of his cheek. I'll talk to her tonight when we're all settled in to ride out the storm. Good, he gave her a wink, because I don't know about you, but I can't wait much longer. Jana was upon them before she could do anything more than offer a wistful smile in return. Chad slid back, creating a bit of separation between them as her mother rounded the corner. Oh, there you are, Rayla. Stepping between the two would-be lovers with only a quick glance and a hint of a smile in Chad's direction. Her mother bristled with a crackling, visceral energy. If she had any suspicion about what the two of them were doing only moments before, she hid it well. Unlike Seldy, Jana was bundled up, wearing a linen jacket over her traditional long-sleeved cotton blouse and a heavy woolen skirt that hung all the way down to the tops of her booted feet. Her mother looked her up and down, from the thin, sleeveless dress that hung from otherwise uncovered shoulders and only came down to her knees, to her bare legs and feet, and arched a dark eyebrow at her. By the shards of Luna, child, it's freezing out there, and likely to start snowing or spitting freezing rain at any moment. How many times do I have to tell you to put more clothes on? Oh, Ma, Seldy spun around, flaring the hem of her dress up around the middle of her thighs. You know the cold doesn't bother me. I'm perfectly comfortable. Besides, it's easier to work without all that heavy clothing weighing me down. Jana clucked her tongue in obvious disapproval. She cast a sideways glance at Chad, her gray eyes flashing. Chagreg, have you tried to talk some sense into her about this? No, Maestra. Chad took another step back and raised his hands. She's 18 now, so I can't boss her around like I used to. And frankly, I don't mind, actually. His cheeks flushed bright red. Jana's head snapped around at him. Of course you wouldn't, she huffed. Men, you're all alike. Seldy slipped up to her mother and rose up onto her toes. She planted a kiss on her weathered brown cheek. Yes, they are, but that's why we love them so much, Ma. I suppose you're right, sweetling. I should go, Maestra, to see if they need help with the netting, more help with the netting. He paused before backing up a step and adding, or something. Actually, Chad, she replied, freezing him with a glare. I was looking for you as well, and figured the easiest way to do that was to find Seldy. Yes, Maestra. He shuffled his booted foot in the dirt. The first thing you can do is drop the Maestra business, she snapped. I've known you since you were a babe in swaddling, and since your mother passed away. You've eaten more meals at my fire than anyone else's. Her voice softened. If you are serious at the rumors going around the company as say you are about spending even more time with my daughter than you already do, you're going to have to start using my name. Chad's cheeks blushed a deeper shade of brown. Seldy felt a surge of relief at hearing the tacit acceptance in her mother's voice. Yes, Jana, that's better, Jana said, giving Seldy's shoulder a tiny squeeze. Now take Talon and Gregor and go check on the livestock and horses. Make sure that the fences are solid and the youngsters are inside their shelters. The winds are going to start getting bad soon, and I want all of you back before the worst of this hits us. Ducking his head in acknowledgement, Chad cast a furtive glance and a backward smile at Seldy. Stepping away, he called out for the others in a strong, confident voice. Yo, Gregor, Talon, we've got new orders. Grab your jackets and gloves and come with me. Seldy sighed, her chest swelling with pride. I wouldn't be surprised to see him become a barrow someday. She flashed a grin at her mother. He's got the potential for it, Jana acknowledged with a nod. She turned to face Seldy, her face dropping to a hoarse whisper. Rayla, can you please go check on Tiagra? What's wrong? Seldy gasped. Is Tia okay? I don't know. Ever since she made the proclamation about the storm this morning, she's been shut inside her Vardo and won't let anyone come in, not even me, her mother sighed, wrapping Seldy in a fierce bear-like hug. She didn't look well. Oh no. She tried to keep the worry from her voice. I'll go see her right away. There's something else, Jana pursed her lips. It's probably nothing, Rayla. But Tia said something about the storm that I didn't mention to anyone else. What did she say? Her mother paused, visibly swallowing. Her hands trembled uncharacteristically in Seldy's fingers. Licking her lips, Jana whispered. She said it 'tis a fey storm coming, a storm like no other. A fey storm, her voice squeaked. Like Dorel? Pressing her lips into a thin red line, Jana nodded once. The images of the devastation of that small coastal town were indelibly etched into Seldy's mind, even though it had been more than 10 years. Every wooden structure in the whole town had been flattened. The vacant stairs of the broken whales of the survivors that the company had helped to dig out of the rubble still haunted her dreams. For the first time in her life, Seldy shivered. And that's chapter 2.
Thank you very much, Doug. That was an awesome reading. Can you hold your book up for us again, please?
Sure.
This is The Hunted Maiden. It's the blurry digital background. It's always wacky. There you go. There it is. So anybody who wants to check that out, you can go to the website and see all the links to all the books that we're featuring all month long. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get into the game. I'm going to read the recap for you one more time, just in case you might have missed it the other, 24 times. Here we go. At the Ghost Bar inside the Whitney Manor and historic Detroit estate, a world-famous psychic medium has come for an exclusive invitation-only seance. With so many curious about spiritualism around the world, this event promises to connect the living and the spirit worlds, opening doors to mysteries that transcend time and space. But when the seance spirals into a chilling rendezvous with a vengeful spirit and a shocking murder, it falls upon those in attendance to unravel the truths hidden in the darkest depths of the past. A spirit is summoned, vowing revenge on their killer. One of the guests becomes hysterical, claiming the spirit is there for them. Suddenly, the lights start flickering and the wind pushes the windows open, extinguishing the candles around the room. The room and everyone in it are thrust into darkness. When the light returns, the same hysterical guest is lying on the floor, dead. Who killed them? Why? Was it the furious spirit or something far more earthly? Your cast of characters this evening. The medium is the great Christopher Gare. He is not in the room tonight. His assistant is Donna Newman. The author, Amy Kelso. The socialite, Dawn Menge, is not in the room tonight. The spouse of the dearly departed Richard is Jules Nelson. The fan of the great Christopher is Marianne Wieland. The aloof guest, Gary Floyd. The maitre d' is Melinda Falgo. She is not in the room this evening, and I am your storyteller. As we do every night at this time, I invite you all to turn on your microphones, come up with your questions to sling at our cast members and each other, and we'll see what more we can uncover this evening. Let's begin with Gary. What does that say? I cannot see it. It is very tiny.
It's Amy's co-writers, Nora R.I.P., Richard R.I.P., and here's a list of the other victims.
Well done.
Who's next? All writers welcome.
It's nice that you've been able to uncover that artifact for us.
I'm trying to keep track for her.
Thanks. I'm sure she appreciates
I
that.
am suffering here. Everybody that care about has died, and you're making fun of me about it. Oh, jeez.
All right. Marianne, let's get it over with.
I resent that. But I have something important to say. More
Sure.
important than any, you have all forgotten about this one very important fact. Where is my wedding ring? I believe it was the hired help, Donna, who found it. I don't know what she did with it, probably tried to pawn it off, or possibly look in the great one's bag to see if it's in there. But I have to have this ring back. I told you my husband is coming to pick me up, and that is a priceless family heirloom.
I'm
From-
sure if you were discovered without your wedding band, there could be trouble when you get home.
Yes, he will think I'm after the great one again. And
Again.
that ring
Again.
is
Again.
priceless.
Again.
Oh, well,
I mean, there was that one time in Hoboken, remember?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
it was. And
Does he
I
know
didn't-
about Hoboken?
He knows I was in Hoboken. He's
Oh.
not, I mean, he might be a clown, but he's no fool. But that ring comes from the Higmidgeons of Wadboo Creek, South Carolina, my husband's family. And I have to have that back. And you all know my husband, Rudolfo, will just be having a fit. Of course,
Okay,
you don't know him as Rudolfo, but you know,
Donna, go ahead.
I want my ring.
So,
Give me my
Marianne,
ring.
I gave the ring to Melissa because that was what I was told to do with the ring, because at the time I gave it to her, nobody said it was their ring, which I still think is funny because I shared it. I said, hey, whose ring is this? Nobody said. And I know why the ring is now bent to the point where you couldn't even wear it if you wanted to. What did you do to bend the ring?
I think you stepped on it, but I can't. You gave my ring to the harpy? You gave it to that harpy? What is the matter with you?
Well,
Oh
there,
my,
That's what you do
word.
lost and found. You give it to the person in charge.
that-
I'm in a room full of peons and lunatics.
I think it's probably in Brazil.
okay.
I'd love to be in
Miranda,
Brazil.
Miranda, go ahead.
Well, first of all, Marianne, I just want you to know that I had a husband who lost his wedding ring once under the similar circumstances. And believe me, there's always a price to pay for something like that. So you might want
Wait, your husband was at a seance where somebody died?
Yes,
Well,
you were after the great one
In
as well.
Hoboken.
we'll say he lost his wedding ring under mysterious circumstances. Yes, yes.
Uh-huh.
Very similar. But since we're talking about jewelry, what's the story about the necklace? Because that was in Richard's pocket and it was $2.1 million and he didn't have the money to buy it. So somebody enlighten me about this one. Amy, you must know something about this. Did he steal it from somebody?
I don't really have any idea. Maybe he tried to get it to prove something to his wife. I don't know. I mean, I know that there is a history in this family, apparently, of desire to try to steal jewels. So maybe
We did
he's
uncover
trying.
some family lore about some thievery going on throughout the generations.
But you would think after his father or grandfather, David Jr., was arrested for embezzlement, that maybe they'd be more careful. But apparently, I don't know, men, they don't pay attention. What can I say?
Okay. Yeah.
Well-
Donna, go ahead.
All right. So I still would like to go back to the will.
Of course.
Amy, you
I
said
would
that
like
there
you
is
to
a
go
will.
as well.
Okay, you said there's a will. Has
Mhm.
anybody else seen the will, or do you know where the will currently is?
It should be in his safe deposit box at the bank.
The bank.
That
Okay,
sounds
because
like
you
a
know, if
good
there's
place
no
to put it.
will, then his spouse may be able to get some of that money.
Yeah, if it goes through probate, then the
If
spouse
it goes
would
through
be-
probate and there's
yeah.
no will,
Well,
those things happen.
Amy, I highly recommend you contact the bank after
Make sure
we
that
have
will's there.
concluded our business here and make sure that will says what you think it says.
Yeah,
I-
check
I
with the
will-
trollop. The trollop has to have it.
Sure. Mary Beth McGee, go ahead.
Well, talking about the necklace, wasn't there a connection to Eric Berkson with that necklace and the auction,
Yep.
supposed
it-
auction?
According to the review from the morgue, There was that necklace was one that was stolen from the auction for Children's Hospital.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And it was found on his dead body, and we don't know how he got there.
Yeah.
But yes,
isn't
it is connected to the old Whitney Berkson feud. Yes.
Yeah. So is Eric Berkson still alive, or he mysteriously succumbed as well?
Well, Berkson was killed in the duel.
No, not Clyde or Eric.
Oh, Eric. I have not been able to find any current family information at the library. All I know is that the family went into foreclosure on their Detroit estate and had to move to more humble accommodations in Ann Arbor. And I do not know the rest of their family lineage because, quite honestly, I've been focusing on the lore of the Whitney family when I went to the Detroit Public Library. So I didn't really have a chance to look into all that other nonsense.
Okay. Just so Richard didn't leave him dead in the butler's pantry when he stole the necklace.
Yeah, we don't want another
4 months ago, so hopefully not.
Yeah.
Of course he stole it. He stole it in case Nora was alive, and that harpy took it off of him. You can bet it was that harpy.
And the harpy's not here to defend herself. Mark McCraw, go ahead.
So my question is, was he, Julie, do you think he was going to give that jewelry or money, whichever, to Nora?
I would assume if he was going to give it to anybody, he was going to give it to Nora. He gave me a necklace once, and that was, early in our marriage, and he hasn't given me anything since then. So I would assume that whatever he was going to do with it didn't have anything to do with me. But it could have been planted on him by the storyteller, because she did lean over his body to check to see if he was breathing. She admitted it. So she was the only one near the body until the morgue guys came and got him. So, I mean.
And the plot thickens.
Well, somebody had to find out if he was breathing, and none of you guys wanted to do it. And
That's right.
It was left up to me. So, and it's a good thing too, because, blood everywhere. Ick.
I kept saying, poke him with a stick, poke him with a stick. See if he's alive.
I didn't want to poke him with a stick or anything else for that matter. Okay, anybody else? Really?
Miss
Go ahead,
Miss
Miranda, go ahead.
Storyteller, did you plant the necklace on Richard?
I did not.
Do you know who did?
I have not uncovered that information. If it was indeed a plant, as I understand it, the police department is still investigating that part of our mystery, and they have not, every time I ask them, they say no comment. So, police stonewalling is not an unusual thing.
Well, I would like to personally thank whoever did it. They did the world a service, the moron.
Mackenzie, I wish I could tell you if you did it, but again, the police have not given me any information, so I don't know. All right. Anybody have any other questions or observations? We are on day 25. We got to wrap this thing up soon. Julie, go ahead.
So I was looking at the seating chart because we were, talking about people flinging the crystal ball from across the table. And the only ones that could have hit him from their trajectory and hit the right-hand side would be his darling sister, Amy, or Troy, excuse me, or Marianne. Those are the only ones that could have thrown it, and it would have been the right trajectory. So if we're going with
Jules.
No, because if I threw it, it would have hit our storyteller in the side of the face, because she's direct line between me and Richard. So there's no direct.
Painful.
Yeah, I would have actually got the
forward a little.
storyteller. Yeah. So
The
if we were
How
going to
do
go
we
with
not
that,
know? How
The
do we not
only
know that that
other-
was who you were trying to get? And you
Yeah,
accidentally
were you
hit Richard instead
Trying
of her.
to throw it at me? Come on.
Maybe she ducked.
The only other observation, Jules, since you brought that up, is that we all know that Donna escaped to the butler's pantry to flick on and off the lights.
Mhm.
I would posit that perhaps she picked up the crystal ball and threw it at Richard on her way out of the room so that she could not have been discovered to be the one. She would have a built-in alibi if she wasn't in the room.
That is right.
But then it would have hit on the left side of his head, not the right.
Possibly, depending on how he was standing. Possibly.
True, he
I-
was freaking
he
out.
got
so-
hit after I left the room because I heard him getting hit and I heard him falling to the ground. So how could I have done it? And once again, what would my motive be? I am literally just here because the great Christopher is here and I go wherever
You're
he
right.
goes.
Okay.
Save your life.
Who
Mark-
gives a
Mark-
rip as long as the loser is gone?
Mark McGraw, go ahead.
Okay, this question is for Donna. I've been watching the replays and it seems like you keep emphasizing skills, skills, skills. Are there some skills that you haven't told us about?
No, but I've told you that I'm ambidextrous. Although I favor my right hand, I do use both equally well. And I can see and talk to ghosts, which is biggest skill that I'm great.
And
Christopher
she did
uses for
admit
me.
to not being a juggler. So
I am not a juggler and I am deathly afraid of mice and chickens.
Yeah, it sounds like the job security because you've been saying skills in every single replay that I hear. You've been saying those skills. So just
That's
curious.
the only reason I'm here. It's because of the skills. He saw something in me that nobody else ever saw.
Okay, cool.
Amy Kelso, go ahead.
Well, I just want to go over the physics of throwing a crystal ball.
Physics, really? We
Like-
got to do math.
No, not just general. Like, how big was this crystal ball? Could it be held in one hand? Because a lot, crystal ball, it seems like you'd need two hands, and I don't know how you could whip it all the way across the table.
From what I remember of it when it was on the table, I mean, clearly the police took it with the body, but what I remember, it was about softball size.
Okay, so it's kind of small. Okay, so it could have been. So in theory, then anybody could have whipped it across the room.
Theoretically, I think everyone is a possible suspect in that manner. Yes.
Except for Gary, who can't pick things up.
Did anyone
Yes.
else play softball? Pitch?
I want to clarify that maybe Gary personally can't do it, but he could possess somebody and have them do it for him.
True.
There.
Okay. I really wish Christopher was here. So many questions for him. Anything else from anybody around the room? Amy, is there anything in the chat I need to know about?
Just to well, the important thing is I think the Brazilian maid did it because of course we know hot men can't be trusted.
Well, that's true.
So that's an important thing to know. Yes.
Absolutely. Julie Nelson, go ahead.
I do think that we should clarify with Christopher and see if we could, I don't know, maybe see the envelope that he got his money in, because all that money, it could have been a payoff for actually the murder, or at least creating enough of a scenario. So he may know a little bit more than he's telling us, because everything he says is vague and, with his letters and stuff, he might be distracting us.
Of course he does. The great one knows all. Even though he might be a kleptomaniac, he still knows all. He knows all.
Okay. Gary Floyd, go ahead.
Yeah, could Donna have been like the go-between for the killer trying to pay off Christopher, then to assassinate Richard?
Donna,
What was the question?
Donna, has anybody contacted you to plan a murder for hire?
No, matter of fact, remember, I saw the envelope of money. I'm the one who told you guys about the envelope for the money. Great Christopher wasn't even upfront about that.
But I'm wondering whether
wouldn't
they
even
gave
tell
you the
me.
money.
He wouldn't even
Yeah,
tell
he
me. He
did.
told me
He
it had
did
nothing
want
to do with me.
He did want to keep that large
He kept
sum
it
of
really
money a
secret,
secret.
so I didn't know
Yeah.
much of anything.
I'm
He
wondering if
actually
he
told me
gave
it
you
was
the
none of my
money to give
business
to the
when I
great
asked about
Christopher.
it.
I'm sorry, say that again, Gary.
I'm wondering if somebody gave you the money then to give the great Christopher.
No, he got
Maybe
it
that's your
directly.
special
He
skills.
got it directly.
Yeah,
He didn't get it
he
from
got
me.
it directly. He told us that he was given that envelope directly. Mary Beth, go ahead.
Okay, just a question for Mary Ann. You've mentioned the great Christopher's kleptomania leanings. What evidence of previous things has he stolen?
I've just taken a look in his bag that he totes around with him with his balls in it and his other things. And he doesn't steal anything expensive, not over $15 so that no one would miss it. It just seems to be his thing. Every seance I've gone to, I've just taken a peek in there. He's never known it, but he's the great one. He might know it, but it's me. And he's not going to say anything to me. I sponsor too many events. I sponsored this event. I think you've forgotten about that.
Indeed. Jennifer Rains, go ahead.
My question is for Marianne because of some of her reactions this evening. Do you
just this evening?
Go back and see the tapes.
No. I've seen a lot of reactions from Marianne, but I was watching her closely this evening.
Yes.
Do you believe that Christopher, the great Christopher, is in fact the murderer?
I do not think so. I don't think he's the murderer.
Do you think he's capable of murder?
I don't think so. I think he's
too gentle-hearted for that.
He's not particularly gentle-hearted. He is to me because I am his biggest fan.
Of course.
He gives me the Boone's Farm, but he has too much trouble with the irritable bowel. He can only stay in certain places near a bathroom. So, he has some illnesses and things that prevent him
from committing
being a murderer.
I got it. Okay. Mark
got his back.
Yeah, I see that. Mark McCraw, go ahead. Mark, you got to turn your microphone on.
You thought, Jules, you were talking about the left-right kind of thing. Did you ever consider that Donna being ambidextrous would play into your theory? Of possibly being the murderer?
I hadn't really thought about it. I mean, she was up. I mean, she says that she went to the butler's pantry, but I mean, the lights were off long enough. She says it's because she saw a mouse, but I mean, she would have had time to run back out and hit him possibly, and then run back in there and then pretend like it was a mouse. So
that's why I was wondering, because of how long the lights were off, she would have had the time to do it. So
yeah,
that's
why I brought it up as well, because I think that there was a large enough span of time that we were all sitting in the dark that may have been a possibility.
Because she could go either way on her hands. So
yeah. Wolf, go ahead.
Yeah, just pursuing the Brazilian hitman theory. Does anybody know if the maid knows capoeira?
I don't think anybody except Melinda knows the maid well enough to answer that question. And unfortunately, she's not in the room tonight.
Okay.
Gary, go ahead.
I am going to learn.
Gary, go ahead.
I have a question for Marianne. Is Christopher great enough to commit murder?
Is he great enough? The great one is great enough to do anything.
So he could conceivably have committed murder because he's so great.
Well,
great being a relative term.
Yes, he's in his own greatness. His greatness as a mentalist, as running a seance, as guiding those who are important to him.
But his greatness in the realms of general humanity, that's up for question.
I've never seen him be unusually irritable with anyone,
except
possibly
when he can't get to a bathroom fast enough, right?
Even when he's killing them.
Okay.
He was
Amy,
not real nice to me in some of his comments.
Amy, go ahead.
Okay, Donna, since we were speaking earlier about your special skills, I know you've gone through them, but I'm just curious, we know you're ambidextrous. Are you, do you have a good pitching arm, perhaps, or both arms? Are they good at pitching?
Both arms are equally strong, but I was never allowed to play sports. So I cannot say if I could throw a ball because I was never allowed to do any of that growing up. I was pretty much told I was crazy and I wasn't allowed outside.
Were you
So
were you sequestered a great deal when you were a child?
now the other question I have for skills is how is your night vision or dark vision?
Yeah,
I
how
am
well do you see
horrible
in the
at night
dark?
vision. I have to wear my glasses, and if I can't see anything, how can I can't see anything without my glasses. I can't see anything in the dark.
Okay,
Very good at that.
I need to ask
But
you about this because you said you saw a mouse in the butler's pantry in the dark. Would that require some night vision skills?
I guess it probably does.
And and you spend time, you are the one who turns the lights on and off, so you need to be able to know how to do that in the dark.
And see the switch.
I
Yeah,
see.
see the switch. Yeah.
Guess I have more night vision than I think I have. Once again, don't tell my husband.
Right. Okay. Well, yeah, not tell your husband that. Okay, we have time for like 2 more questions. Does any go ahead, Donna?
So my question is basically a general question for everyone. Were you being blackmailed by Peter, which is the reason why you wanted him dead? And I'm going to ask Jules,
Richard,
Amy,
Richard, you mean?
all of them. I mean, Richard.
Richard
So-
Peter Whitney, yes.
Yes, Richard Peter.
So,
does
Jules,
anybody
I'll start with you. Were you being blackmailed by your husband because you quieted Nora? Any other
Well,
reason?
he doesn't know I quieted Nora. He, in fact, was freaking out when Nora was in the room because he thought Nora was coming for him. So he had no idea. But I mean, the only blackmailing my husband probably would have done was have me be quiet for him. So that way I didn't get divorced. I mean, that's probably the only blackmail that you could probably say.
Okay, let's go on. Amy, were you being blackmailed at all?
Of course not. Why would I be blackmailed? I've never done anything bad.
Yeah, you just
But
wrote a
you
bunch of
stole his
stories.
ideas for your book.
Yeah, you just wrote a bunch of stories that weren't yours.
You
That's
plagiarized all of his work.
They were ours. We made them together.
right. Co-authors, Gary, were you being blackmailed, Nora?
I was definitely not being blackmailed. Believe me, is that I thought very highly of Richard, and believe me, we wouldn't be talking about the weather.
Hey, Marianne, did you receive any blackmail threats?
Of course not. I have more money with myself and my husband's family than any of you cretins put together. I would not be able to be blackmailed. There wouldn't be enough money.
Oh, well, actually, that's kind of the point of blackmail is that you pay them. They would be extorting money from you, so you look like a really good candidate for blackmail.
Well, I would not turn loose of any of my money to any of you people in here. So, not the
Okay.
troll,
You wouldn't turn loose of the money for the so that the clown doesn't know that you are secretly in love with the great Christopher, and there's the whole story about Hoboken, and I could probably come up with 2 or 3 more.
So, Donna, are you blackmailing somebody in this room?
I probably could.
I find it very intriguing that you brought up the question now
He
that you
saved
have
your
just
life.
reminded us that you have all this secret information.
Only on Marianne.
Only on Marianne, right? Like I believe that.
She's the stalker of my employers.
she's
Of course
just
I know her.
interested in my husband. She
Hmm.
knows him well. She has kids.
Okay.
With your husband?
No, my husband is a professional clown and mime. He would be
Oh.
at all of your children's birthday parties.
That's
He'll
why
be the
she kept
clown, Reggie the mime.
that's why she kept telling us he was a clown, because it was the
Ah.
truth.
He didn't want to be here because those of you who know he's a mime, most people want to kill him. So
There
he
you
did not
go.
come.
It's probably a good thing he didn't come because we would have had another murder on our hands. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tonight's interrogation session. That was super fun. All right. I need to remind you all, we have now put another night into the interrogation books. That means there are only the 26th, the 27th, and the 28th, 3 more days left to sling your accusations. Who killed Richard Whitney? What was the primary motive and why? Start formulating your theories so that you can sling them on the 28th. If you go to the website, there's a form on the website that you can fill out your accusation. All accusations have to be in by 11 p.m. on the 28th of February, and I can only accept one accusation per person. So wait before you really know who you think did it before you sling an accusation. If you're still unclear on all the details, go check out the replays. You can find them on our website. You can find them on our YouTube channel, and the links are all on the Facebook page as well. Intense scrutiny will bring you the answers you seek. It's wax stripping time, everybody. Here we go. Today's tally, we have pushed over the 200 mark. Congratulations to our top 5 authors: Christopher Gare, Amy Kelso, Andrew Allen Smith, Deborah Reed, and Jules Dawson. That's the best Kermit I do. Sorry, folks. Okay, here are the remaining authors and their point totals. If you don't see yourself high enough on that list, or you'd like to get to the top 5, make sure you get your friends and family, co-workers, and, you know, complete strangers on the street to come into the room for the next 3 days and name you as their referral source, and you'll get more wax strippings. It's time for talismans from the spirits, everybody. Tonight, as is our custom, we will be giving away the book that was read this evening. And because I always like to give away 2 books every night, we will also give away a book of the winner's choice from my catalog. So, if your name comes up on the spinning wheel of happiness, please send me your mailing address to diana@pagespromotions.com, and I will make sure that the authors get the books out to you. So we're going to share the spinning wheel. Dun, 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 dun. I'm going to make sure the sound is turned on, because sometimes when my computer misbehaves, the sound gets turned off. Okay, there we go. Amy, can you see it?
Yep.
Yay. Okay, Diana's not in the room. And is anybody else not in the room? Dun, 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 dun. Is Rosemary's not in the room, is she? I didn't see Rosemary come in tonight. Okay.
No, she's having technical issues.
Yeah. Okay. All right, here we go. We're going to spin the wheel first for Douglas's book, The Hunted Maiden. Here we go. Okay, and now we're going to spin the wheel for any book you would like from my catalog. And included in that, if you go to my website, you can look for the anthologies that we have done. And if there's an anthology that you would like, let me know that, and I will get that one out to you as well. But it won't be autographed by everybody. It'll just be autographed by me. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Jen Rinaldi, congratulations! Yay! Okay, you can find my books up here at dkpwriter.com. You can find everything else over here at pagespromotions.com. And I look forward to shipping out books because I like wrapping presents. Speaking of books, I want to remind everybody once again, the reason we are playing this wacky game all month long is because I believe in standing on the rooftops and screaming across the horizon the names and titles of all of the indie books that are created in our community. That's why I do this every year. So I invite you to jump over to the Pages Promotions website, look for the tab that says Indie Author Yearbook. Check out all the books that are there. You will see direct buy links to their Amazon pages, once you buy a book and read it, please go back in and leave a review. Indie authors really need your reviews because we don't have the marketing budget that the top 5 do. So we need your help, and your reviews help us do that. Also, I am asking each of you who have participated all month long, please go into the website and leave your witness statement. Please take a few moments and tell us about your experience. Your feedback will help us to create next year's festival. If you really hated this month and it was just way too much ridiculousness for you, let us know that too, and we'll take that into consideration, and maybe I'll just sit in my cabin next February and watch the snow. You guys get to decide. Let me know if you'd like to do it again. On the 29th, in, yes, 3 days, 4 days, it'll be the 4th day from today, we're going to do the big reveal. And we're going to give away prizes to the people who sling the most accurate accusation. When you go to the website and you see the accusation form, you're going to notice that there is a place for you to choose a primary motive. And then there's a place for you to put in an explanation of that motive in your own words. If we get a 2 people who come closest to the primary motive, the decision will be made by the most creative why theory that comes up from you folks. So keep that in mind as you're slinging your accusations. Start thinking about your why theories now. We're also doing a spectacular hat contest on the 29th. Bring your hats. Come on out. We're going to give away prizes for spectacular hats. And I just need to remind you again, the 29th, we've been working really hard at keeping this event like PG-13, as close as we can. The 29th, I don't make any promises about that. The 29th is not guaranteed to be family friendly, so you might want to be aware of that when you come in that night. Because at the end of the month, we're all just being lunatics, and I can't control a room of 20 lunatics or more. So, all right. Shots across the bow from our cast members. Amy Kelso.
Yeah, hopefully we get some good clues in the next couple days, because I'm really not sure yet.
That makes me so happy. Who's that? Marianne Whelan, shots across the bow.
I'm not sure either. There's several contenders.
There's a whole room full of them, actually. Donna Newman, shots across the bow.
I'm very confused. I know only one thing for actual fact, which is I didn't do it.
It's good to believe in your own innocence, isn't it? That's good. Gary Floyd, shots across the bow.
I believe as both a spirit and as Nora, I think I should have 2 choices.
No, sorry.
Just an idea.
No, that's too much work for me. And finally, last but not least, Jules Nelson, shots across the bow.
Well, I had something I was going to say, and Gary made me laugh, so I have no idea. It's just completely gone. So
perfect. Okay. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, again for a really wonderful month. I've been having a blast. I hope you have too. We don't have very many days left. I mean, you got to sling your accusations on the 28th, and on the 29th, all will be revealed. So I hope to see you all in the next couple of days, and let's ferret out the rest of those clues. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Good night.